Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another 2-Bit Talks, and today it is April 29th, 2017.
That's right.
Yeah.
Also known as my birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, man.
Glad to be here with you guys.
Yeah, glad you were born. How many years ago?
32 years ago.
32 years ago. Wow.
I'm an old one.
I'll be hitting that big 3-0 this year, so I'm catching up. I think I'll always be a little behind you.
That's kind of how time works.
Unless you die. So.
Yeah, it's like
Then I'll catch up.
Then I'm frozen at that point.
Yeah, you're frozen at that age.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go ahead and get into the first topic, and it is the state of console gaming.
Yes.
Which is a conversation that we did not have before, and not like the audio got messed up and we had to junk it and do it again.
Right.
Did not happen. So it's the first time we've ever talked about this subject.
Theoretically, if it had happened before, we would now be trying to recreate that moment word for word. So it's not going to seem rehearsed at all.
Yeah. Well, essentially, I just want to talk about this because I was just thinking this would make a great subject for us to talk about. And that is the state of console gaming and how I kind of feel like console gaming in general has kind of plateaued. And we haven't really seen, I feel like gameplay mechanic-wise, I don't think we've seen a whole lot of evolution. It's kind of stayed the same the last 2 generations. And just to do a little back history, like during the Atari 2600 era, it was very like bare bones and like you had to use a lot of your imagination and the technology just wasn't there yet. And then fast forward, you get to the Nintendo and the Sega Master System, and the technology had finally arrived to really create, unique and new gaming experiences. And then fast forward from that, you got to the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, and they had mastered the art of 2D gaming, and I would say it was a golden age for that style of gameplay. And then when we went back to the Stone Age with the PlayStation and 64, with our ugly polygon characters and all that very crude, looking, characters, but they were kind of learning, 3D gaming. And then you get to GameCube, PS2, Xbox, and I would say 360 and not before you get to 3, sorry. You get to the GameCube, PS2, Xbox, and again, it was kind of like the Nintendo was, where it's like the technology was finally there to finally kind of push those boundaries and create new experiences. We got Halo, Grand Theft Auto 3, just tons of awesome games and new ways of playing. Prince of Persia, which was the predecessor to the Assassin's Creed games. And then you get to the Xbox 360 and PS3, which I would say was a golden age. They had reached the peak of that, style of gameplay. And how I feel like now, doesn't it feel like we're just still stuck in that, like, they're just doing what they've been doing since the 360 and PS3, mm-hmm. and there hasn't been much, I feel like, unique experiences that really change the way I view how a game can be played or what a game can be. I mean, Nintendo has kind of tried, over the years, but besides them, I haven't really seen like a huge industry, jump. And I think you thought you have a medium that you think is going to maybe push us.
That's right. Well, it's like you were saying, when the gaming market first opened, when technology first came on the scene, you describe it as sort of like caveman, Stone Age. And it is like that with any new paradigm shift. So the jump from 2D games to 3D games, you had to have this infant technology in 3D games, and you described it as Stone Age, but it's more like a starting off point.
Yeah.
And then it gets to this point where the technology finally catches up to the paradigm or the media, and then it becomes almost as good as it can become. So the question is, with console gaming, what's the next paradigm shift? And it seems like, to me, the smart money is on VR. Now, PlayStation already has the PlayStation VR. You have whole systems like the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive. I don't feel like it's changing the game as much as a technology like that could. I was looking at a PlayStation VR the other day, and it's still $300, $400.
Yeah. Just
for the headset. And I think that the interest will peak once the prices come down. Console games systems, when they first came out, there was a little bit of a price barrier for some people. Like, they didn't want to spend the money on a console system. But once they became more ubiquitous, the prices came down a little bit, and it became like another household appliance. and people were more willing to spend the money on it. VR is in its infancy. I think it's going to come into its own, and I think it's going to be present the next paradigm shift in gaming. If you've ever had a chance to play a game in virtual reality, like a good game on a system like the Vive or the Oculus Rift, then you know. I mean, it's like unlike anything that you've done before. It's not like sitting in front of a TV. It's not like holding a Switch, no matter how fun that is and how good the graphics are. It's just not as immersive as bringing you into the game.
Or waving a Wiimote around.
Yeah, it's just not as immersive as putting you into the game like a VR system can.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful because I feel like what I'm looking for, like you're looking for, like an actual different gameplay standpoint or a game standpoint and how you play it. For me too, just even the nuts and bolts of the game, I feel like VR could actually change how people approach game development, like how the game is actually, like what you're looking at on the screen or whatnot. It's going to, I guess, be more, since VR, they'll probably focus more on a first-person like perspective and all that. So,
I mean, it already has. I mean, when you develop a VR game, you have to develop the game completely differently than you would with a 2D game. I mean, it's technically...
Because they have to, when they're developing, like say a game for Xbox, PS4, even this with the Switch, it's pretty much just the developer knows, hey, there's going to be a screen in front of them, so I don't have to worry about their 360 surroundings. So I was going to say what you said earlier about the technology too. A lot of people will sit there and look back. If you look back at the price of the original Atari 2600, I believe they sold it for $200, but adjusted for inflation, I think it's roughly around $500, $600.
So we're still.
Yeah. So when people freak out about like, oh, this much money for a VR headset, like even like PlayStation VR, which is probably the cheapest they have, which is what, $400 or something like that. The Atari 2600 when it first came out was like $500, $600 if I remember correctly. So in our money, today's money.
Yeah.
Back then it was $200. But
it was also a new technology back then.
Yeah.
It was a home video game console. It was something that a lot of people had no concept of. A lot of people didn't have any experience with. And I would assume a lot of people were not willing to sink $500, $600 on this brand new concept that they didn't even know if it was going to pan out.
Yeah. Well, I'm hopeful. I think new frontiers will be set maybe through VR. And
what else do we have right now?
Yeah, true.
It just seems like the way it's going.
I just think the thing that sucks right now, I mean, and you can kind of tell with the game developers that they're realizing that it's, they're getting diminishing returns on everything. And like, Call of Duty series is trying to revamp itself with their Call of Duty World War II. Assassin's Creed, who is it that does that? Is it Ubisoft? And they actually last year decided not to come out with one and just wait a whole year. Like, you can tell they're trying to like switch things up, but they realize that it's kind of, there's a plateau there. Things have gotten stale, and they're trying to find new ways of doing things. And I think we're going to be stuck in that for a while. And I think you're right. If VR gets pushed through, they'll be like, oh, well, we can do like this with VR, and we'll have another moment where like, wow, that wow moment where a game actually, like, I remember. This is going to be totally filled with nostalgia, but the fact sitting there playing Super Mario Brothers and realizing that I could run from one side of the screen to the other, because every other game I had played before then, you were just stuck on one screen. You could never go right, further right. Like, you would just hit the screen and be stuck there. And then when the first time I played Super Mario Brothers, and I could keep running all the way across the screen, it blew my mind. Yeah. And that's the moment I'm looking forward to, hopefully, with VR. And I hope they get there where I'm just blown away, like, oh, I didn't realize that this could happen. It's like a magical moment, when it does that to you. But anyway, we're going to be signing off here.
That's right.
Thanks for watching this video, and please let us know in the comments section below what you guys think about the state of console gaming. Are you like, hey, it's going great, or VR is going to be awesome, or I don't like VR? Let us know. Yeah. And also hit like and share our videos and subscribe, do all that good stuff.
If you have any questions about games, news, anything, general questions for us, you can send them to our Twitter at 2BitJesus.
There we go. Yeah, brand new, spanking new at 2BitJesus.
Number 2 Bit Jesus.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. Anyway, guys, stay safe. Play on.